Welcome back to episode 20 of Where North End Walk. What a game that was against Leeds. Just didn't manage to hold on, but just how good was Jordan's Storey. We're reviewing that whole game and just talking about just how good has Heckingbottom been. And Preston are now mid-table again, where they belong. Welcome to Where North End Walk. Yes, welcome back to Where North End Walk. A great win midweek. First of all, we must celebrate Cardiff before we even start talking about Leeds. Ash, that must have felt good, that one. First away win in forever.
Yeah, it was a good one. It took an own goal to get us going, I think. And spoke to a few people at the game at the weekend and discussed how bad of a game it was, but we got a result, and that's what's important. So
absolutely. Who cares? And up to 14th at one point, Etienne. Back in Bristol City were there, and your old buddies were back in mid-table. It felt like you'd never been away, hey?
I didn't expect us to jump that high. 1 minute it feels like you're still embroiled in the relegation battle, and you get, ultimately a scrappy win at Cardiff, and you seem so safe all of a sudden. And it's a good feeling to know that we know that we were never really going to go down this season or not be horrible. But it's good to know that we are in a position now where we can keep putting these performances together without feeling like the drop's right there.
Yeah, you're only 9 points away from the playoffs, Harvey.
Really? I didn't even know that. I mean, I was more focused on looking at where 12th is, to be honest, because that's probably where we're going to end up, isn't it? But yeah, it's like Etienne said, it's a really nice feeling to just not feel like you're down there like we was at the start of the season. So a win at Coventry is as scrappy as it was, and as much as I weren't exactly pleased with it, it's a win, which is definitely what we needed. So.
All right, let's focus on the Leeds game. There's one name, Ash, coming out from the Leeds game, which was Jordan Storey. Incredible performance. Just how good was he?
Yeah, probably his best game in a Preston shirt for long periods of the game. Really impressed with him. To be honest, I think he's probably, him and Lindsay together are probably our only two championship level defenders, especially the centre backs. And he actually seemed to have a bit of pace as well. I don't know where that came from, but he was a bit nippy on Saturday. So yeah, really good performance, along with a few others, to be honest. But yeah, him specifically.
Yeah, Michael says it was gut-wrenching. That one would have loved to have taken a point, or to have taken a point beforehand to concede so late as a sucker punch. Mads was absolutely brilliant today, as was Storey and Lindsay. Ollie there at the bottom says Jordan Storey was outstanding. Come on, you whites. Etienne, did I detect a bit of an atmosphere at Deepdale on Saturday as well? I thought I could hear some chanting.
Slightly. It's my mate still messaged me about 20 minutes in saying, I'm glad Preston are paying their respects by being completely silent. Yeah, but, it does take a performance like that to kind of get us up our feet. Like, our fans are never the most excitable. So if we go 1-0 up against a big team, like Leeds are in the division, it's going to get Deepdale rocking, especially when we really could have done with those 3 points.
Yeah. You had a couple of chances, Harvey, from breakaways where if you just selected the better pass, or the through ball was a little on. You could have gone 2-0 up. Did you feel that on the balance of play that 2-0 wouldn't have flattered you?
No, I think overall, I think it was probably what we deserved for, I think, 60 minutes of the game. I think we were very much the better team, and then it is just them slight chances that get away from you that cost you 3 points. But overall, I was extremely happy. For me though, it is just a bit of a feeling of the one that got away. I feel like after the 60th minute, we just seemed to sit back a bit more and just let Leeds attack us, bringing on like defensive substitutions. So. I agree with the tweet where it is a bit gut-wrenching, and overall I do feel like we probably should have come away with a win if we was just a bit more clinical.
There's somebody who's saying it was the battle of the Championship's two worst goalkeepers in this one. The Leeds fans we spoke to are fuming with Melier that he didn't keep that out, your goal. But in terms of your one, we saw this for the first time in history, I think, a tweet. Preston North End from Brazil. Don't know what time of the day they were watching the game, but well, hello. Who knew that Brazil had Preston fans had a Brazil department? Woodman was man of the match. All out. We'll come on to that one in a minute. And Jim Bradley says it looked worse bringing Whiteman off, but no one is ever going to accept that, though. Ash, can you accept that you looked worse when Whiteman went off?
I actually thought he played quite well, to be honest. He was getting stuck in. I think he had to come off because of the booking, and I think he was. I've been told multiple times he was lucky to stay on the pitch. I think that second one was a really good tackle. Game, you know this. But yeah, actually, I do feel we maybe lost a bit. I think the biggest change was bringing Reece on and taking Osmajic off. And then I don't think it helped taking Mads off either. We lost anyone that could actually carry the ball forwards. Just kind of invited pressure. So I think it's a mixture of the three of those going off. But yeah, Whiteman, he looked solid in that first half and he was putting himself about, which is more than we could say from other games.
Absolutely. Here's a big list for you, Etienne, here. Sorry. Chris North says, Mads and Osmajic were in particular different players under Hecky. Reece needs to move on in January. Hecky showed that he could be fluid tactically. Keane was brilliant off the ball yesterday, and we've already done Lindsay and Storey. Just how brilliant they were. Let's run through this list then. Let's about Reece. Not the only one to say that. Okay, he's had enough chances now this season. Sell him for big money in January. He's the only player you could sell for big money. That's a permanent signing. So is this mind's made up now? Just get him gone.
Yeah, I think you got it. If you aren't going to renew his contract, get him moved on. Try and get some sort of nominal fee from a team that might want him. He just looked a bit lazy, especially when Osmajic, we saw a turn of pace that we've never seen from Osmajic, breaking away, getting that pass off and getting the assist for Potts. And it just doesn't look like Reece really wants to do any of that. And then when that chance fell to him from Mads cross as well, I don't know why he just seems to just aim it straight at Meslier. He could have put it in the corner and Meslier has no chance. He's frozen. And yeah, it just feels like, I was saying to my brother earlier, since his ACL injury a couple of years back, he's just never really looked the same from that 21-22 season. And I think it is just time to kind of count our losses and cash in if we can.
Okay. Harvey, do you agree?
Yeah, he's bang on. I think Reece was definitely, even though he's just probably the worst player on the pitch on Saturday for me. I think anytime he was on the ball, he got shoved off it. I think one of the Leeds attacks even come from him losing the ball and trying to claim a foul, but he just...
Finish your sentence off, Ash.
It was that bad that it's just cut Harvey's electric out, apparently. Yeah, no, he was absolutely shocking. I was really unhappy with him. A lot of it, the second half, was in front of me. We were attacking where I sit, and he just didn't look interested at all. Like he didn't want to be there. He's got no strength, no pace. The only thing he's generally had is finishing ability. And according to that header, he's lost that as well. So get rid as soon as you can for me.
Okay. You must be doing something to me because even I cheered the Potts goal when it went in. And we had a go. We didn't have a go at Potts last week, but we had a very bad miss at Hillsborough. Is he all forgiven, Etienne, for that one against Leeds?
Yeah, I mean, players will always have those moments where they miss and everyone begins to doubt, their ability, their role in the squad, and then they go and do something like finish off a pretty decent chance against Leeds, and everyone immediately forgets, goes, "Oh, he's the greatest right wing back that's ever played for us." So yeah, I mean, he is forgiven because he's gone and scored a vital goal that has got us a point at the end of the day. He just now needs to try and do that on a consistent basis, please.
Okay. Let's leave the Leeds game there a minute. I've got bad news though for you. QPR is up next at home. They've just found their stride. They are second in the form league. So you're just rocking up there just a month too late, Harvey. But sometimes when you wait for your first away win, then two come along at once. Are we seeing the best of Preston at the moment?
I wouldn't say the best, but it is definitely progression. I think that's the word I'd use. It's more improved. It's more fluid. I think a lot more players seem like they're up for it and actually want to be there. So I think at the Cardiff game, I was having my fingers crossed that like it's a win and then we can bounce off of that and hopefully improve the form and it looks off 2 games. You've got 4 points, one against a really good side, that it's starting to look a bit more promising, a bit more positive. So I'm probably going to go into QPR with a winning mindset, hopefully.
Yeah, 2 ever presents in the Championship, of course. You guys, QPR and Preston, played each other more times than any other in the last 12 years. Ash, is this football more watchable than Ryan Lowe's football? Some Leeds fans were saying you were turgid to watch on Saturday, and Heckingbottom's killed the spirit of Preston, but that's Leeds fans.
I think it is in some senses quite similar. I think it's a lot more aggressive now. We're pressing higher. You saw it in the first half. We had a high press, and it really worked. What I will say is it's the same squad that Lowe had pretty much, apart from obviously the 2 signings, which is what he started with at the start of this season. So you can't expect it to change too much. We've got what we've got in terms of players, but it seems a lot more forward thinking, and we're trying to make things happen quickly instead of just passing around the back three, back 5, whatever you want to call it. It's definitely much higher of a press, and I think that's what's finding our success at the minute. You saw from the breakaway, just on Potts to play it quickly, and send Millie down the wing is something that wasn't happening before. We'd have stopped, we'd have passed it back to the keeper 4 times, and then maybe tried to build from there. So yeah, it's a lot better for me, a lot better to watch, and I actually feel like we're doing some entertaining stuff at times as well, which I didn't feel like before.
All right, last one on the Leeds game. We mentioned it before. Woodman was man of the match. Well, people thought he should be man of the match. We always have to shout him out when he plays well. Etienne, did he?
Yeah, he did. I saw someone blame him for the Leeds goal, and you look back at it, it's like it's an unfortunate touch off Watno, and I don't think there's actually any time for Freddie Woodman to react and get underneath that ball. So yeah, he had a good game. You've also got to keep in mind though that Patrick Bamford was being Patrick Bamford that day, and he should have put that one in the back of the net. But absolutely, you save the shots that come to you, and he did just that. So yeah, solid performance.
Absolutely, and again, Leeds can't come to Deepdale and get 3 points. So yeah, them do not like playing you guys. A little bit on Heckingbottom. Then just before we roll out. We roll out the credits. If I can find my right button, there we go. The vegan PNE says, I thought what was really impressive today was how we played at least 3 different systems throughout the game and how well the players managed it. It shows really good management. I honestly think we landed lucky getting Hekiola. Please don't mean that, I think. Fingers crossed we can get some bodies in January. And Chris replied, completely agree. I feel like everyone knows their job. Plenty of players will get the best out of him. Some additions he wants in that squad can make a huge difference now. To those points in terms of the fluidity of the gameplay that you're seeing, Etienne, is that point correct that you have got more than one dimension of playing, and just in terms of his man management, in terms of the players walking through brick walls for him, are you starting to see that?
Yeah. There's a lot more. There's not really any rigidity anymore. A lot of players are I don't know where I'm going with this point. Sorry. What I wanted to say was, you saw it on Saturday where we switched from 2 different styles of play. From the start, we were going with almost a front 3 with Keane, Osmanic, and Mads. It was really good to see. And then as we began to lock it down, I know a lot of people didn't want to lock it down, but we became a bit more rigid, a bit more structured. And as you said, the players were running through brick walls to get that ball gone from the danger area and keep Leeds out. And whilst it didn't pay off on the day, it's going to pay off against another team down the road. And if we can just keep that up, keep those commitment levels up, I think it's really going to pay off. And I think it has in the last couple of fixtures.
Mm-hmm. I didn't see any Ridsdale out blankets, which I thought with Leeds being in town, we might have done, Harvey. Do you think recent results have just quietened all that noise down? Because, let's not think a month ago, when we had Keith on here, it was, that was the only thing Preston fans were talking about, wasn't it?
Yeah. it's just typical North End fans, and it's very reactionary. As I think the word is. A lot of them just jump to the gun as soon as like something goes bad. I'm critical of doing that myself sometimes. But I think the biggest thing will probably be the January window. I think if it's shown that Hecky isn't getting backed and supported to be able to bring the bodies in that he wants, then I can see a lot of Preston fans definitely switching back on that Ridsdale out to show the anger.
Okay. There's lots of managers being sacked at the moment who've lost their job. We've got Millwall looking for a manager, Oxford looking for a manager. Potentially, Danny Roll might go to Southampton. So, does all this kind of highlight the fact that those teams at the bottom now are doing that? Highlight that it was right to get rid of Lowe at the start when it clearly wasn't working. Ash?
I think it was. I think the biggest issue with Lowe, which I've had to explain to quite a few people, wasn't necessarily where we finished in the league or the results. It was personality-wise, and the style of play was just horrible. There was no enjoyment. We don't expect to get promoted, really. We don't expect to go down. Just want to kind of enjoy some Saturdays out the year. I go expecting we're going to lose quite a few games. But the ones we should be winning, we should be having a go. I think there was a Watford game last year. It was a must-win game to challenge for the playoffs, and we went and just held for a draw the whole game. And I don't think we get that with Hecky. So I think it was definitely the right time. I think the real right time would have been the end of the previous season, and I think he would have probably held a bit higher regard with some of the fans if he'd have just walked at that point and just admitted that it was time to go. But I'm glad we've got Heckingbottom when we did, because we'd have had some more competition for him, I think, now.
It's interesting to me, Etienne, that Ryan Lowe's name isn't on any of the bookies' odds for the Millwall job or the Oxford United job, and it didn't come up when Coventry City were looking for managers. Why is that? Is he now done in management because of how it ended at Preston?
No, I do think he is going to go get another job. I just think maybe he should drop down a level and just, try find another job like the Plymouth one he had. Maybe top end of League One, middle end of League One. I just think he's ruined his reputation a bit. A lot of Championship clubs will look at us and go, right, well, they're playing a lot better. The fans seem a lot happier. Maybe we should stay away from that and go get somebody the fans will actually like. I think it will take a League One club in a bit of a crisis to point at him and go, look, he got Plymouth promoted, and ultimately he got us into 10th with some horrible football, admittedly, but he kept us afloat, and, I think he'll get that chance and he will show the world what kind of manager he can be. Hopefully he'll learn from the mistakes, but he's not going to get a Championship job.
Okay. Right, last little topic this week then is a wider one around football in general, Harvey. Some people are saying football feels a bit flat. At the moment, people are switching off the Premier League. The Championship hasn't really lit up this season. Is something fundamentally wrong with the sport that we love? That's our debate topic this week. Harvey, kick us off.
My personal opinion on it would be, I think there is now way too much money in football. I think everything relies on, big wages, big players, clubs spending either and the other. It's like the Championship. For me, I much prefer the Championship to the Premier League by a mile. I just think the standard is. I know it sounds crazy, but I think the standard of games is higher. It's more enjoyable. Teams actually look like they want to go for it half the time. But I think sometimes the Championship gets a bit predictable. Clubs goes to Premier League, do really bad, and come back down and then get a massive payout for it, and you just see them going up and down for years on end. And I think that's probably where it's killing it. I think a lot of FFP or parachute payments, whatever you want to call it, I think that needs to be gone. Or I think it needs to be a bit more lenient to be able to balance lower leagues out. But yeah, I think the biggest problem for me is all the money that goes into it, because I just think it's ridiculous.
Okay, Ash.
Yeah, so I definitely agree on the financial fair play side of things. I think all it's done is widen the gap between the richer teams and the ones that don't have as much money. I think the whole Guardiola influence on football and everybody playing out from the back, even when they're not good enough to play out from the back, is kind of just it's kind of dulled the game a bit. I miss 4-4-2 and just having a big fella and a little fella up front, and I just miss. As well as that, I think VAR and the fact that the game's gone softer. You can't put a tackle in now. If your fingernails offside, the goal's disallowed, and we need more goals. It's crucial that we have more goals. Thankfully, we don't have that in the Championship, which is, I think I've always preferred being in the Championship. I wouldn't enjoy being in the Premier League. But yeah, it does seem to have dropped off a cliff this season. I think even compared to last year, it just seems like it's a bit less entertaining. Whether that's because of a lack of personalities in the bigger teams now with a couple of new managers, I'm not sure. But it's definitely more entertaining for me personally because I don't have to watch low ball anymore, which is great.
All great points. Etienne, can you add to it?
No, I think Ash and Harvey have both said what I've wanted to say. I think the financial fair play is not destroying the Championship, but definitely removing some of the unpredictability, because there was always a sense that Leeds were going to go and get that last minute winner on Saturday, and they just have a lot more money than we do, and they will for the next couple of years. And it's, teams coming up, down. You feel like you can always predict, and the same with the players going up and down as well. It's always the same group of players making the switch. It just doesn't feel like you get many of those exciting profiles anymore, any players that you really want to go and see on TV. And yeah, like playing out the back, some teams just can't do it, and they still do. And it's just the mix-up of styles, the mix-up of formations, it just seems to have gone. And, I think them two just hit it on the head for me. I can't add anything.
None of you mentioned the new Sky TV deal, which with some other fans, I want to get your view on this as a last point. So, for example, last Saturday when you played at Sheffield Wednesday, the other game which would have been on TV would have been the Merseyside derby, and it got cancelled because of weather. But so you have to kind of ask the question: other than Preston fans who aren't going to Hillsborough, who's tuning in to watch Sheffield Wednesday versus Preston? Sky have got this monopoly of this 12:30 kickoff, 3 games, because they want to compete against the Premier League showing, which they haven't got having the rights for, you understand. But people don't go to the games. It creates terrible atmospheres at early kickoffs. Transport, it's ridiculous. You've got Plymouth and Middlesbrough. Was it Hull going to Plymouth or Plymouth going to Hull? I forget which way around it was. Is that an element of why we're seeing just a bit of a dull state in the Championship as well, or is that just lazy journalism?
I quite like the 12:30 kickoff, to be honest, because I can do stuff in the afternoon. And nobody's ever up for a Preston game at Deepdale anyway, and I don't particularly care about any of the other clubs, so it suits me fine. But I can understand why people aren't massively happy with it. I think they do it generally for the bigger derbies anyway, to stop people going in the pub too long for the game. So
you can understand that, but who wants? What have we got this week? We've got Hull versus Swansea, right? Okay, who's watching Hull versus Swansea on a Saturday before Christmas?
I think you could have that on at any time. I think most of the Championship games you could have on at any time when there's no other games on, and I don't think the viewership would be that high because there's probably foreign games that are more interesting, and I think one thing that needs to be done is they need to market the Championship better. It's probably the most all-action league possibly in the world, and it's the most, it's that close between promotion and relegation some seasons. You don't get that elsewhere. So I think they should be marketing it better, and if anything, Sky should probably push it a bit more as a product.
Absolutely.
To create more hype around it. So.
Yeah, and that starts with getting a better highlight show. We're starting it here. We were petitioning for a decent highlight show for the Championship because I'm sick of the produce that ITV put out. Right. Thank you, Ash. Thank you, Etienne. Thank you, Harvey. Thank you, of course, very much for watching. Drop us a subscribe if you haven't yet done so already. We've got one more till the big man comes on the 25th. We'll see you next week to review QPR away. 2 in a row. It's on the cards. See you next week.